We're back, Seven Rivers Racing, KQEG TV, just about done with that nasty chest cold, and a good time too. We are just 2 weeks away from Media Day and the first open practice session, and the spring is spectacular with street drags at La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, 3 weeks away from the season opener. One of those you're going to see during the season opener is the former Rookie of the Year, 2011 Rookie of the Year with the Quick Trip NASCAR late models. We'd like to welcome in our friend Nick Clements. Nick, how are you, buddy?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Good seeing you.
Good, nice seeing you.
Coming off what I thought was a very successful smoker here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it went really good. We had a really good turnout. It was fun. It was a late night, but you got to do them to raise money, and it was well worth it. We had a lot of good friends there, so it was a good turnout.
You know, we were talking with Brian Hasselberg on last week's show on the importance of not only holding a smoker to get your race season really underway financially-wise, but it also gives you a chance to reflect on last season with a lot of different drivers from not only your class, but a lot of different classes. Yeah,
it's good to talk to them all and find out what they're doing. It helps, you know, goes toward that motor or that chassis, whatever you want to do to it. I mean, there's all sorts of things. Parts. Just when do you stop? That's
new tools.
Right, new tools. There's all sorts of things you can buy.
Nick's coming on, not only coming off the 2011 Rookie of the Year, but to me, he did it in style and really put his name, when you talk about late models at the Speedway, a 7th place finish in points last year. Your first year, talk about that first season, because I know that you didn't expect to finish in the top 10 in points and then also hit Rookie of the Year.
No, not at all. I was hoping on like maybe a couple 10th place finishes, you know, top 10s, and get my feet wet. I had my heart set on only running a partial season anyway for my first year, just because there's a lot of rookies out there, and I didn't know what was going to happen.
A lot of good rookies.
And I wanted to get my feet wet and then go, but, you know, we tried to practice, and got 8 total laps of practice before opening night.
Wow.
Had tranny problems, and it was like, all right, you know, go opening night. But I was turning fairly fast times on old tires, so we were confident that way, and then put the new tires on and it was even slower, and it's like, oh, what do we do now? And just got really lucky that first night, took the outside, nobody else would, and ended up finishing 3rd.
And what happens to a real racer is they end up going out there thinking we're only going to run a partial schedule, and the bug just hits you because you do so well early that you just can't get away from the racetrack. It's almost like it's pulling you in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's success makes you want more, and it was fun, that's for sure.
Well, if we go from this picture right here, which was Nick Clements in a Sportsman car 2 seasons ago, how much an advantage was it to you to run and you had a very fast car when you were driving this number 8 during the Sportsman. You're on the big track. Is it easier to pick where you want to do what you want to do, being in that Sportsman's class?
Yeah. The Sportsman cars are a handful. They are night and day difference driving.
Right.
I put power steering on my last season with a Sportsman, which my late model does not have power steering, where I didn't like the power steering really. It was just the feel. You can't feel as much, I didn't think. So a lot of people like it. They're hard to drive compared to a late model.
Right. and the late model, too, is besides being a difference at the beginning of the race, a late model changes a lot more during the course of the race, just from something as innocuous as heat. It's going to make the body flex a little different, going to make the chassis flex a little different. So when you're setting up your late model, you're setting it up for a lot of different changes during the course of that long feature, whereas the Sportsman's a little shorter, it's a little more rigid of a vehicle. How did that play into making the changes that you needed to mentally in the car?
I still don't know all the adjustments on the late model compared to there's so much difference to a Sportsman to a late model. There's things you can adjust that, you know, I don't know what it's going to do. Just try it. But I had a lot of good help. I mean, Steve Holthausen helped me out when I first got the car, and then Todd Oliver, who I bought the car, he gave me all of his notes and went from there. And then throughout the year, Todd Korish helped me out. I mean, they let me take the car right to their shop, and we adjusted things and tried to get everything square again. And then even like the Johnsons and Toby, they helped me out this winter, getting me some parts and stuff that, I mean, everybody helps you out so much, and it's a good tight group of people.
Sure is.
And then something else that tops off your rookie season is back on July 9th. You did something that a lot of people their rookie season could not even dream of and didn't do. You went out and won a feature.
Yeah, it was a fun night. I started on the pole, and I was nervous, as anybody would be. But I had a good feeling about the car. It was handling good, and up to that point, we hadn't even hardly touched a screw jack.
Right.
We just got the springs out that collapsed the first night and put some different ones in, and we were like, just give it, just drive. And the first half of the feature, I kept looking back, and then I kept telling myself, don't look.
You've got the likes of Carlson and Paff and Korish and Herbst. You know that in some point in that race, they're going to be bringing down your head, so you've got to look back.
Exactly, and it was in the sportsman days, it was the cautions that always got me. You'd be out front, and it'd be like 2 to go. All of a sudden, a yellow would come out and be like, oh, I hate yellows, because you were going side by side with somebody, and that's what all I kept waiting for is a yellow, because you got Kirshner and you got Herbst and Korish, and you get a yellow, and all of a sudden here they are outside you, and it's like, oh man, they're good. They're all good out there, everybody.
Now last year, obviously your first year running a late model was also the first year double wide restarts had been initiated at La Crosse Speedway. Your thoughts on double wide restarts?
I liked them. It's interesting, but I was used to them from the sportsman, so I was always, I liked going to the outside regardless, because you pick up them spots, and if a yellow come out, you got them. I mean, it doesn't always work that way, regardless, but it was good for me because I've already was used to it, I would say.
Our guest in the program, 2011 Rookie of the Year, Nick Clements, drives the number 8 Quick Trip NASCAR late model at the Claus Fairgrounds Speedway. Like we talked with Brian Hesselberg last week, he came off a rookie season, and then people are watching, what can he do now? And of course, Brian had finished 12th. Nick's going to have that same spotlight on him this year. As you come off that rookie season, how much did he learn? And maybe some of the drivers are a little bit soft on him as being a rookie. That's not going to happen this year. He's going to be out thrown to the wolves. When we come back, and Nick also did some extracurricular racing during Oktoberfest last year, which I mentioned many times during announcing at the Speedway, to see his car out there as much as he did. We're going to talk to Nick about the Oktoberfest racing when we continue on Seven Rivers Racing.